Today's gospel, my friends, ends with these words. You are witnesses of all these things. You are witnesses of all these things. Jesus wanted to make sure they were a good witness, so he appeared to them. He wanted to make sure they knew in their minds and hearts what happened a few days earlier on Good Friday and Easter Sunday. He wanted to strengthen their belief in that event. I was reading an interesting article this past week. Some of you I know are at least familiar with it. In 1938, there was a radio broadcast that caused hysterica. Do you know what it was? Very good. Yeah, World of Worlds. You know what that was about, my friends? It was about giant robots that had landed in New Jersey. And there was an incredible number of heart attacks, strokes, and suicides. And the roads were packed with people trying to get out of the northeast section of New York and New Jersey. I thought to myself, you know, we're so quick to believe the media, and we're so quick not to believe the church. Isn't that amazing? Like, we believe that caused mass hysterica. And even today, it's the same thing. We're so quick to believe media and so slow to believe the church. It's interesting. But anyway, my friends, to be a witness, we need to believe. In sign language, do you know what the sign for Jesus is? It's a very interesting sign, how they do that. They take their hand and they take their middle finger and point to the palm of their hand. So when you see that during the deaf, and you'll see that occasionally, you know, deaf people, they'll take their finger like that and curl it through. They're telling each other to remember the scars. Interesting. Remember the scars. Remember what Jesus did, and remember that Jesus is alive. Every wedding I do, I always ask the couples, I said, what's love? And they hate that question. Can you imagine, though, they're getting married and I want them to define it. Why do I define that? It's important for you couples that are sitting out there, though. Because day to day, we recognize so readily our faults, don't we? And our shortcomings and our weaknesses is very apparent. And we all have them. But when you're living together and want to be married over the extended period of time, we need to be always to be able to see what in them? Their strengths, their good points, right? We need to know those in our minds and our hearts. We need to remember, my friends. We need to remember what Jesus did for us. We need to remember that Jesus is alive. There's a Nike commercial. I didn't see this, but I read it in an article. It was in Leadership Magazine where I read it. Some of you may have remembered this. There's no words in this particular ad, but it showed somebody with a nasty scar, another one with a cowboy with a gouged scar around his face there, another one with a bulb like a cauliflower ear, and at the end of the commercial it has that swoosh, the Nike symbol, and then the words, just do it. But Joe Cocker is singing in the background while these pictures are being flashed. And I don't remember Joe Cocker, that was before my time, but he's singing, "You are beautiful." So they're showing these pictures of these deformed people, and in the background is, "You are beautiful." What's the message with that, my friends? The message is that these people have all achieved. The surfer was trying to save somebody and got snared by a shark. The one with the rather large oil, what they call the cauliflower ears, it was a state wrestler champion. The other one was a cowboy that got gored by a bull because he was trying to save another person during the rodeo. So these are all heroes that have tremendous commitments in their sports. They're beautiful because they are committed. And I thought, you know, the world is starving for committed Christians. Starving, my friends. Committed for someone to live out what they believe. That's what they want to see. With some of these articles was, and this is what kind of drew me to these articles, was a woman that was using the subways in New York. There was a man that was given these, the subway ticket that was in those booths, was watching these thousands of people come in through these every day, And finally he stopped this young girl. She was, not so young, but young enough. He said, "Excuse me, ma'am, I want to thank you." And she was like, "Thank me for what? I don't really even talk to you." She said, "I've been watching you for a year and a half." She said, "You always have a cheerful smile and you say good morning to you." She said, "I knew the smile must come from inside somewhere. Then one morning I saw a little Bible in your hand. I bought one and I found Jesus and went back to church." That was a young mother. She had 3 children. Her grandparents were very devout. Her parents weren't. They had her baptized. And she felt that she needed to believe in something other than herself and went back to church. And she said it changed her life. But see, she wasn't even trying to be a witness. But she was committed to her beliefs. And she was committed to living those beliefs out. And somebody took notice of that. Somebody took notice of that. You see, my friends, commitment is beautiful, like Joe Cocker said. And the world is starving for it. The world is starving for it. As Jesus said in today's gospel, in today's last words, "You are witnesses of all these things." May we be a good witness, my friends.